Hi everybody, Joe here from SHUTTERSPEAK Photography. Very nice to see your smiling faces again here on YouTube. So, some big news for you Nikon fans out there. The Z6 II and the Z7 II are now official, along with the new battery grip. So we're going to go over a little bit of that and talk about it, talk about the specs, talk about the prices, what's new, what's changed, and what this all means for Nikon users. Even if you are a current Z6 or Z7 owner and you're not looking to purchase a new Z6 II, Z7 II, this is good news for you. This is good news for the brand. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that as well. So before we get started, I'd just like to say thank you for watching. And if you find anything in this video helpful, please help me out by hitting the subscribe button and ring the bell so you get notified of future updates on this channel. I'd appreciate it. Again, if anything in this video helps you out, that's how you can help me out. And best of all, it's free. So thank you for that. All right, so now that we got that out of the way, let's get started. So it's good news for Nikon fans. Why? Well, because the Z6 II and the Z7 II mean that Nikon takes the brand seriously. It takes mirrorless photography very serious, and it's looking to put out a professional grade camera out that can compete with any other brand, whether it be the Sony or whether it be the Canon or whomever. All right, so is this the camera that maybe the Z6 and Z7 should have been from the very beginning? Well, maybe, but either way, it does mean that Nikon took a look at all the criticism, all the feedback, all the suggestions, and they listened, and they built a camera that really kind of covers all of the things that their users were asking for. So let's take a look at it. All right, first off, let's talk about video. So both cameras will feature support for shooting video at up to 60 frames per second at 4K. However, the Z6 II will have an APS-C crop to it at 60 frames per second, and the Z7 II will have a 1.08 times crop. And you're going to have to wait for a firmware update to enable these features. That's scheduled for February of 2021. Both cameras support 10-bit N-Log or HDR to an external recorder, ProRes support available immediately, and Blackmagic RAW via Blackmagic Video Assist coming with the February firmware. iFocus is also now available while shooting video with the Z6 and Z7 II. In terms of shooting speed, Z6 II can reach 14 frames per second with 12-bit RAW with a single autofocus point. With subject tracking enabled, it hits 12 frames per second, and that's a huge improvement over the previous Z6, which could only hit 5.5 in continuous. The Z7 II gets a huge bump also at 10 frames per second on single focus point. Buffer size on both cameras is doubled and can handle up to 99 images in the buffer. Both cameras are going to get dual X-Speed processors, which is supposed to dramatically increase the iFocus capability. A new feature is iFocus in wide area mode, which will help you nail down your iFocus to only where you want it, rather than letting the camera decide. Now, this to me is a really nice feature if you have ever been shooting with iFocus on and maybe like for example at a concert where there's a video screen in the back and all of a sudden the iFocus jumps to the video screen or jumps to a poster inside a home or something like that instead of on a person. So again, I think this is a nice improvement, and also these dual X-Speed processors are supposed to be able to get an iFocus a little bit more narrowed down. Again, we were a little bit behind. I know a lot of people love iFocus. I love iFocus, but in terms of the brand, Nikon was definitely behind when it came to iFocus, lagging behind Sony and Canon. I'm not criticizing the iFocus. The iFocus is good, but not as good as those other brands. So these new cameras are supposed to dramatically increase that capability. Okay, so low light focus is improved by one stop and is now down to negative 4.5 EV. Not to say that the other cameras weren't great, but that's a nice improvement. Viewfinder remains unchanged from the previous version, and it's an excellent EVF as is. I know some people out there would have wanted a little bit more resolution in the EVF, but again, it is one of the best EVFs of any camera system out there. So that remains unchanged, and not really, I wouldn't be unhappy about that. I think it's a good system. Rear display on both tilt, but no rotating displays. And again, that's something I also agree with. I think a rotating display is a little too fragile for a Pro Series camera. And I think that just the tilting screen is sufficient. I know that it's not perfect for vlogging, but quite honestly, there are ways around that. You know, there's a couple of dollars you can get a mirror system that can see the EVF in the back, not the EVF in the back, the screen in the back. But again, Pro Series camera, I think that's the right call. With these new features, we see new pricing with a 30% increase over the previous generation, with the Z6 II coming in at $1999.95 and the Z7 II coming in at $2999.95. Also available is going to be the new NB-N11 battery power pack, which uses two hot swappable EN-EL15C batteries. The grip has two chambers, so you can remove either battery at either time. It also features a USB-C connector, so you can power it from an external source, an AC source or a battery pack. You can also mix and match batteries, including the older 15 series batteries as well as the NB-N11 battery. Oh, and it has buttons, so you can focus and shoot vertically using the grip. But sorry, current Z shooters, this grip works only with the new Z6 and Z7 II cameras only. All right, also we're going to see updates to SnapBridge, which now means these new cameras can transfer any resolution off the camera to SnapBridge, any SnapBridge supported device, as well as firmware updates available through SnapBridge. That's one thing that's going to be welcome for a lot of people. I can't tell you how many times I've seen it. Every time there's a firmware update, Nikon says only available through the XQD card, the CF card, whatever the card may be. And there's always people out there asking, well, hey, does anybody know how I can do this? I don't have a card reader. How can I do this firmware update? So Nikon has answered that, and we're going to be able to do updates via SnapBridge. So that's a nice feature for people. And again, I think what this all signifies is a really solid step forward for Z-series shooters. Now, in my opinion, if you currently own a Z6 or a Z7, if you don't have any compelling reason to trade up, don't feel bad, because you have a great camera and a great system, and it is the exact same sensor that's in the current Z6 and Z7 that's in these new models. So unless you are not getting work because you're maybe a wedding shooter and you know you need a job as a second shooter, and I know there are some wedding studios out there that won't touch a guy who has a camera with only a single card slot. So unless there's some compelling reason that you need a second card slot, which is probably the biggest feature, you know, I wouldn't feel bad. I don't think that it's necessary for you to move up or trade up. They're amazing cameras, and I don't think that, you know, we're going to see much of a difference in the image quality. So if you're shooting your family, you're just an enthusiast, you're shooting for fun, you have a Z6 and C7, be happy with it. I think you can stick with it, and you're going to be good. I don't see any compelling reason to leap up to these new cameras, especially at a 30% price increase. Again, if you're doing this professionally and you know you're getting passed over on jobs because you know your camera only has a single card slot, which it can happen, it does happen. I've seen you know ads, want ads from wedding photography shops that will flat out say you need a camera with two card slots. And I know we can get into a whole debate on whether or not XQD is reliable enough, whether you really need 2 card slots. I know a ton of pro shooters that never shoot with a second card, even though their camera has 2 card slots. Most of the time, that second slot is empty. And, you know, we're talking about professional shooters shooting, you know, pro sports and, you know, major concerts, things like that. So, hey, we can get into a big debate over it, but I don't think it's a deal breaker either way. Also, if you don't have a Z6 or a Z7 and you're just looking to jump in, what do you buy? Well, in my opinion, right about now, I'd start looking on eBay, because you're going to see some people that are always going to want to trade up, and they're going to want to have the newest camera and the latest camera, and they're going to be listing their Z6s and Z7s on eBay, so you might find yourself a great deal there. You're also going to save 30% by getting a Z6 or a Z7 as opposed to a Z6 II or a Z7 II. So, you know, again, more money in your pocket, put it towards lenses. The Z lenses are amazing. So maybe save your money and put it towards a lens. Again, if you're a pro and you need to have these features, hey, listen, Nikon is listening, and they are now there for you. So if you're a pro shooter and you're just getting in, or you're going to make the jump to mirrorless, I would say go with the Z6 II or a Z7 II as a pro shooter. So, hey, there you have it. There are my thoughts. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. And as always, it was very nice to see your smiling faces here on YouTube. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. As anyone who follows this channel knows, I try to answer as many questions. I probably answer 90% of the questions that get thrown out there. So leave me a comment. Let me know if you're going to upgrade. Let me know if you're jumping in and you're going to go for the 2. Let me know if you find a deal on eBay, because I think there's going to be some great deals out there on eBay real soon of gently used Z6s and Z7s. So that's it. See you next time, YouTube. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.